I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
USA, USA, USA.
Combination. Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Tuesday. Boy, do we have an interesting show for you today. There's a lot of disaster in today's news. So look, we have right-wing, the far right doing projection. We have an interesting fight between Marjorie Greene and let's just say the person who organized the Stop the Steal rally at the Capitol. And other far-right ghouls. So, fun times. Yes, they're fighting. We also are going to be talking about some shootings. We have Ralph Yarl, the 16-year-old boy that was shot by, I mean, I'm going to come out and say it, racist neighbor for going to the wrong house. And then we also have another shooting, again, with somebody going to the wrong house. You know what?
USA, USA, USA.
It keeps happening. So horrifying. And then we are also going to talk about the return of child labor in Iowa. So, yeah, apparently the Republicans have heard about Minecraft. Kids playing the Minecraft, and they thought, obviously, the kids yearn to return to the mines, so we will now send them. All right, let's do it. Let's jump into the story. We're going to start, or jump into the show. We're going to start with the projection here about the groomers. So before I dive into the stories, please, like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Helps us out. And yeah, let's do it. Okay. Far-right influencer and Stop the Steal organizer Ali Alexander, he's really sorry. He is sorry for creeping on underage boys. On Friday night, Ali Alexander issued this statement saying this: "I apologize for any inappropriate messages sent over the years. When I flirted or others have flirted with me, I flexed my credentials or dropped corny pickup lines. Other times I've been careless I should have qualified those coming up to me's identities during flirtatious banter at the start. Okay. So, I'm sorry for the inappropriate messages. Wait till you see the messages, or I'm going to read some of them to you. And look, the issue here is not being, oh, I'm flirtatious and, oh, sometimes I just have a little bit of a lapse of judgment. No. You're going after children. So, allegedly, of course. Now, let me give you the details, okay? In 2017, Alexander had, gotten into an online conversation with a certain now right-wing influencer himself. This, at the time in 2017, this person was 15. Alexander had requested and received, explicit images from one Aiden Duncan. This is according to an account Duncan had given in a March 2023 podcast appearance. Again, Duncan is a massive right-winger, allied with Nick Fuentes and his America First neo-Nazi movement. So we're not dealing with good people here. But if it's true that he was exploited by Ali Alexander as an underage person, well, that's serious. That's not good. That's bad. All right, so now, in exchange for the images, Alexander had allegedly promised to share his network of right-wing contacts, including meeting Milo Yiannopoulos, another person who had, been canceled by the right wing for a short time for downplaying pedophilia. So, lovely. That's who we're dealing with. And by the way, it's the group that thinks that drag queens are the ones who are grooming. Nope. Some of the quotes here are from Snapchat screenshots revealed by the Daily Beast. One of them purports to show Alexander laying out rules for the contact with the teenager. Well, no, wait a minute. Rules here? What are you talking about? We got rules here? I thought he was saying he was being careless. No, he knew what he was doing. In my opinion, at least. So, here are the rules. Many of them stressed secrecy and a sort of quid pro quo relationship between sexual availability and career opportunities. Everything, one rule said, is secret and private. We're family. Oh, I don't know if you want to use that definition. Oh, yes. No, we're family. Like what? Like a mountain family? No, I'm okay. Let's rephrase that so that you know what I mean. Because it's the, very, very sick. Okay, you know what? I'm going to drop it. Moving on here. Okay. It's weird. It's creepy. And also, remember, we're talking about an underage boy, a teen boy. It's messed up. All right. So now another message said that Duncan was allowed to say no. Oh, he was allowed. Boundaries are cool. However, the less you deprive me of, the less I deprive you of. I'm a big sharing person. Unless it's not even. Big sharing person. Oh, I think we know exactly what he was trying to share there. And again, we're dealing with an underage boy. A child. Now, the report said that Alexander had grown frustrated by May of 2019, claiming that the still underage Duncan would not send him, quote unquote, good jack-off material. Quote, you don't even send me videos anymore. You don't even want to be my side piece. A day later, according to screenshots, he asked Duncan to come to Texas for a week for a internship. Oh, internship. Sure. Is that what we're calling it these days? Now, look, Duncan's career eventually did take off on the right wing, or maybe it didn't. I'm not really sure what to call it, an evolution or a devolution, because he ended up pounding around with Nick Fuentes and still is. All of them are pretty horrible people, but again, if this is all true, it's a clear example of exploitation of a minor. And by the way, a lot of people knew about it. Yiannopoulos knew. Yiannopoulos is the one that started releasing tapes. He's like, oh, you're going to drop my name in order to, get pictures of teen boys? Oh, no. That's not going to happen. I'm going to release what I know. But you knew this was happening before and you didn't say anything? So you were covering up for this kind of activity, Milo? Until now? What the hell? Again, this is all sorts of effed up. All right. And so, by the way, some of the other evidence, I guess, that Yiannopoulos claims to have, again, releasing tapes, video interviews, and other things meant to prove that Alexander had, again, creeped on this teenager and another one, and I'll get to that story. So now Duncan came out and said this as well. Quote, when I was 15, I was naive and desperate. I thought I had no choice but to cooperate with inappropriate and humiliating requests if I wanted to make it in politics. I figured that was just the nature of the game. No. Definitely not. When asked if, again, his buddy Nick Fuentes knew, he said, yes, I think Nick is 100% aware. So, allegedly, Nick Fuentes was sitting on this kind of stuff too. All while, again, projecting that no, it's the LGBTQ community. It's the drag queens, the teachers, the woke agenda, woke mind virus. Jesus Christ. And by the way, it's not the only time Nick was allegedly aware of Alexander's activities. And so now we'll go to the next person. Alexander had started messaging 17-year-old Lance Johnston in the summer of 2019. Johnston claims that a friend warned him earlier to the communications that Alexander has a history of asking for explicit images. And of course, that's allegedly what happened. Alexander, according to Johnston, moved oddly quickly towards discussing sex with the teenager. Remember, at this point, he's in his 30s, Alexander is. Trying to get, these images from a 17-year-old. In 2019, in what Johnston claims was the night of the White House social media summit, where Trump was with Alexander and other conservatives as victims of online censorship, the 34-year-old Alexander used an eggplant emoji to ask the teenager for a picture of, well, I think you know what that stands for, okay? Johnston says that he had refused and blocked Alexander, then took a screenshot of the exchange, but was fearful of raising the issue more broadly on the far right. So, here we go. This actually goes back to the allegations, reminds me of the allegations against Matt Schlapp, from a staffer that was working on, now I'm blanking on his name for some reason, but there was a Georgia, I don't know why, my brain's not working today, but there was a Senate race that they were working on, and there were allegations of inappropriate contact. So it seems like this is a thing that happens a lot in right-wing circles. Not a good thing. They seem to have a giant problem here with, again, hypocrisy and projection. So now, in exchange, Fuentes, getting back to him, okay? So what happened is that a friend of Johnston's published the screenshot anyway. It made the rounds. on right-wing social media until it, until it died down. Afterwards, it came back up during the Kanye West fiasco. That's when Fuentes, who again allegedly knew about all of this going on, tried to get Johnston to apologize, claiming that Johnston was faking the message for some sort of, I don't know, for reasons. And yes, it's Herschel Walker. I don't know why I blanked out on that. So here's what Johnston said. I thought in my mind he would try his best to discredit me and ruin me politically and influentially with my time in politics. Remember, these are all right-wing influencers. This Johnston is a conservative TikTok star, apparently. Now, in exchange for disowning the eggplant exchange, according to Johnston, Fuentes and Alexander had offered him a job in politics. Hey, keep your mouth shut and we'll hook you up. Johnston said, basically, they wanted me to lie, apologize to Ali, and then they said they would try to get me a job. Weird. No, look, not weird at all. Here's the thing. We know that Ali is denying all this. Okay. Fuentes also denies trying to get Johnston a job, but did say he tried to reach out to Johnston to get him to, apologize to Ali. But again, let's be honest here. The far right is a hive of scum and villainy. They've got a lot of skeletons in that closet. A lot. And look, here's, it's like they claim that, oh no, see the left, they're the bad ones. See, it's the left, it's the trans people that are fighting for equal rights, it's the teachers, it's drag queen story hour. Yes, that's indoctrinating the children with the woke propaganda in order to sexualize them for the adults. Yes, that's what's going on here. Oh yes. No, that's not what's going on. In reality, you have people like Yiannopoulos, Alexander, Ali, and Nick Fuentes, who are either, allegedly doing these things or helping other people do these things and then cover it up, or downplaying the predatory behavior towards the teenagers in order to protect people on their side in the MAGA movement. It's almost like, again, all of this is just massive projection. Massive projection. And by the way, fun fact, back in August, another Fuentes associate, Alejandro Richard Velasquez Gomez, was arrested and charged with the possession of, get it, child pornography. Of course. Velasquez went by the moniker Latino Zoomer online and has been photographed with Fuentes and faces charges over allegedly threatening a conference held by a rival conservative group. Huh. Yeah. Again, super weird. It's like we're finding out where the groomers are, and every time we find out where they are, it just happens to be they're in the right wing, they're in the far right, and they're doing projection upon everyone else. We have no choice. We've got to shut down the far right. I mean, until we know what the hell is going on. Because the groomers are coming from somewhere. They're coming from somewhere, and it looks like it's the right wing. We got to shut it down. We have no choice. There's more. Okay. We got a let them fight situation going on here too. Okay. In a newest case of let them fight, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is now feuding with two of her former allies. So recently, the Daily Beast dropped a report about Ali Alexander, who was one of the organizers of the Stop the Steal rally, January 6th. So that story basically alleged that Alexander, for years, had solicited explicit photos from underage teen boys and would, dangle job prospects or conservative clout in front of them. Now, Alexander had admitted to struggling with an attraction to men, but has denied knowingly soliciting photos from underage boys. Okay, so first off, being attracted to men, not a problem. Soliciting photos from underage boys or children in general, that is the problem. So now, the scandal also had drew in white nationalist and Trump dinner guest Nick Fuentes. Fuentes is being accused of trying to help Alexander silence some of the teens who were teens at the time that were solicited, again, by offering them jobs. So now Marjorie Greene was a friend of both Alexander and Fuentes. But now she has decided to lash out. So here's what she posted on Twitter. This is disgusting textbook predation of underage boys. And Nick Fuentes was in on it. FBI should investigate. Now look, hey, she ain't wrong. Guess what? Worst person in the world. Made a good point. Maybe not the worst person in the world, but you get what I mean. But wait, hold on here. Of course, I'm going to criticize Marjorie Greene as well, because there's no good people in the story. They're all horrible. Look, Greene, I've reported on this a lot, along with other, members of the far right. Weren't they like, defund the FBI? Defund the FBI, defund the DOJ, defund all of them. Get rid of the police. Oh, by the way, you should go after this guy. FBI, are you listening? Wait a minute. I just thought that's weird. Weird. Like, I don't know, when they're going after your political enemies, who, by the way, in this case, would be completely justified to go after if this all happens to be true. And Alexander was, again, soliciting photos from underage boys. But, okay. Suddenly now, though, Marjorie Greene, fan of the FBI. Interesting. But as I mentioned before, they're all terrible. And so now there are degrees in how terrible they are. To be fair, Fuentes, of course, neo-Nazi, racist, anti-Semitic, misogynistic, all those different things. I don't know if there are any allegations against him about doing pedo stuff, though. So I don't know. I guess that puts him a step above Alexander. Again, if this turns out to be true, again, Alexander allegedly creeped in on underage teen boys, dangling careers in conservative politics in front of them. That's straight up exploitation of a minor. And Greene, well, we're going to get into Greene. So Greene, I've noticed something here. So she talks about, I got to protect the children. I got to protect them from the ideology of, the woke and the exploitation. I got to protect the children against the exploitation. Oh, okay. So you call out Ali Alexander. Okay. But what about all the other, I don't know, white cisgendered Republican men who also keep getting caught grooming or, again, trading explicit images of children online? I mean, again, this is the first time she's ever called out anyone that I know of on the right for allegedly exploiting underage persons. And by the way, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into this too much. Doesn't seem like a coincidence that Ali Alexander happens to be a brown-skinned guy whose real name, by the way, is Ali Akbar, who says he struggles with being attracted to men. Struggles. Oh, you know what? I see it now. Okay? It fits her narrative. This fits her narrative perfectly. Her narrative, remember, is it's the LGBTQ group that is grooming, which it's not. The vast majority of people that exploit, groom, and harm children are heterosexual cisgender men. Look, and I'll give you some examples here of the right wing being full of these kinds of people who creep on kids. Here's some names. Dennis Hastert, former Republican Speaker of the House. I mean, yeah. And you had a lot of high-profile Republicans defending him. You also had former Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore. You also had another South Dakota Republican chairman in Jones County named Rocky Hayes. Also had a stash of explicit images of children. Former GOP staffer and Republican National Committee aide Ruben Verastegui, who admitted to being part of a ring that traded these, again, images that involved babies. He was sentenced to more than 12 and a half years in prison. Tennessee Republican State Representative David Byrd has also been accused of misconduct by 3 women who were underage at the time, according to the Washington Post. That's when he was a coach. There's hundreds and hundreds of more incidents that we could talk about of the right wing Republicans, conservative, cisgendered men who are Republicans grooming or just straight up collecting vast amounts of explicit imagery of children. Straight up pedo stuff. Okay? That's what's going on here. Now, is Marjorie Greene speaking up about this? Has she said anything about it? About those people? No, not at all. Not at all. Just talking about this. And again, it's because she has personal beef against Nick Fuentes. Look, she spoke at his white nationalist conference and claims, oh, I had no idea that he was a Holocaust denier. Oh, no, not at all. What are you talking about? No. I didn't know that. And by the way, I went to a Holocaust museum and turns out it was bad. Oh, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, I think she knew. I think she knew exactly what it was. But I think that what she's trying to do now is sort of rehabilitate her image so she can rise up in the ranks of the Republican Party, amass more power for herself. And this, by the way, just helps her culture war narrative against the LGBTQ community. And that's why I think she's going so hard against Ali Alexander while staying silent on all the other white, cisgendered, heterosexual men that have done the same thing or worse in her party. Look, if she wants to stop the exploitation of children, she might want to start with going after all the rest of her own movement. Okay. So many examples, y'all. Of not just people who are accused, but people who have been convicted and sentenced. Okay. Let's move on here. let's go to... Yeah, let's go to more disastrous. The entire day is disastrous for news. Unfortunately, it's just one of those days. So, yeah, let's move forward. A man who has been accused of wounding 16-year-old Ralph Yarl after Yarl went to the wrong house has been identified and will be charged. There's a warrant out for his arrest, and also identified, as I mentioned, as 85-year-old Andrew Lester. So Clay County Prosecutor Zachary Thompson, in a Monday press conference, had identified and mentioned that there is a warrant issued for his arrest on 2 felony charges. So first, let's go with what happened. Basically, the 16-year-old had went to pick up his younger brothers from a friend's house on April 13th. However, he ended up going to the wrong house. Lack of directions, didn't have their phone, didn't have his phone, pulled into the driveway of the wrong house. In fact, the house that they were looking for is actually on 115th Terrace, but he had mistakenly went to 115th Street, which was just a block away. When he knocked on the door, a man had opened it up, looked Ralph in the eye. This is according to Ralph's aunt, Faith Spoonmore, said, the man allegedly said, "Don't ever come back here," and then shot him in the head. And then when he was on the ground, the man shot him again. I mean, it's absolutely horrifying. This story, I could not imagine. The only bright side here is that Ralph Yarl has survived miraculously and is making a recovery. But holy hell. Now, Lester apparently will face charges of assault, first-degree assault, and armed criminal action. Why not attempted murder? Well, Thompson explains that, well, the possible sentence under the assault is the more severe charge. Wait, more severe than attempted murder? That's, look, I don't know. That seems strange. And look, this is not the only question, by the way, that has circulated around this case. So the family, for example, was like, hey, why wasn't Lester arrested like as soon as possible last week? That's when this happened. What happened? Now, just now there's a warrant out. Now there's charges. What's going on here? So now, according to civil rights attorney Lee Merritt, one of the lawyers who represents Yarl's family, along with Benjamin Crump, said in a social media post that Ralph gave a bedside interview to investigators while hospitalized on Friday. That appears to contradict the narrative offered by police that no arrest had been made because cops had thus far been unable to take a victim statement. So the cops clearly seem to have lied here. Not seem to, they lied. Gee, I wonder why they'd lie. Merritt also said the alleged shooter was detained for 2 hours, not 24, as KCPD Chief Stacey Graves had previously said. 2 hours! Quote, I cannot say for certain why the appropriate arrest hadn't been made by law enforcement, Merritt said. I can say with absolute certainty the excuses being offered are not true. What do you know? Cops lying again? Weird. Wow. Now, could there be a racial component here? Well, according to Thompson, there is, at least maybe in the motive for the shooting, even though no motive has been officially released yet. But here's the other thing, okay? So, look, there are the questions around, of course, the police response to it, obviously, and okay. But what's worse here, the thing that bothers me even more so than that, and there's a lot here that bothers me, so, like, don't take that as me trying to minimize this, but nobody apparently helped him. Now, Spoonmore says that her nephew had to get up and run to 3 different neighbors' homes for help. When finally reaching the 3rd house, someone agreed to help them only after forcing him at gunpoint to put his hands up and lie on the ground. Remember, he was shot. He was shot. Twice. Bleeding. And instead of, oh my God, are you okay? Holy hell. Yeah, we got to get you some help. It's, get on the ground. As if he is the criminal here. I mean, he's a kid that went to the wrong freaking house. What is going on? He wasn't trying to break in. He was there to pick up his siblings. Got the directions wrong. Happens all the time. Happens to me. Oh, I'm terrible with directions. But I've never been shot in the face for it. Well, I think there's a reason. I think it's pretty obvious. Now, Michael Kelly, a family friend, told the Daily Beast that he was baffled by the shooting. Quote, "This is your neighbor." Adding that he definitely felt that racism was a factor. If this is a white woman at night, would the neighbor have shot her? I 100% doubt it. As I mentioned, investigators on Sunday said that they did not have the evidence that it was racially motivated. Come on. But another neighbor who wished to remain anonymous told the Daily Beast that the race was a component and mentioned Ferguson. Ferguson was here. It just sucks. I hope the shooter gets charged. Regardless of what his reasoning was for doing it, there's no reason to ever do that to somebody. The neighbor also mentioned that the neighborhood is mixed, saying that there are kids of all races living there, and yet the street names are confusing. Mail is delivered to the wrong homes on a regular basis, so it would be easy for a person to confuse one for the other, according to the neighbor. I just want to make sure that the world doesn't think every neighbor here is okay with this shit happening. In a statement on Monday, North Kansas City Schools Superintendent Dan Clemens described Ralph as an excellent student and talented musician, maintaining a stellar GPA while taking mostly college-level courses. While he loves science and hopes to pursue that career path, his passion is music. Thankfully, we know he is now recovering alongside family. So, look, I hope he is able to fully recover and is able to excel. He seems like an incredibly bright kid with an incredible future, and I'm glad that was not cut short. But I'll tell you, if this happened to me, I would be scarred for life. Oh, absolutely. Couldn't imagine the amount of fear that this kid's going to feel for the rest of his life as he grows up. Not knowing that, hey, if I knock on the wrong door as the wrong color, someone is going to shoot me in the face. Because they're going to think that they're justified in murdering me. Because unfortunately, that's what the culture is. And look, I'm going to speculate, but I'm probably going to be right about it. What are the odds that this guy constantly watches Fox News and is convinced that Black Lives Matter thugs are coming to rob him or kill him? Come on, we know that that's probably the case. I would bet on it. I could almost guarantee that he's a fan. I can't really find any other explanation as to why someone would do something like this. To open up the door and blast a kid in the face for no reason. Other than deep-seated racism, hatred, and fear of the other. This is unfortunately what's going on in this country. What continues to happen. And it's just absolutely horrifying. So now, if you're wondering how you can help, there's a GoFundMe link that I'm going to put in the description of the video for his medical expenses. Kid's got enough to worry about for the rest of his life. without having to worry about paying a massive medical bill, because you know how this country is when it comes to healthcare. So if you could donate or spread the word, help the family, it would be much appreciated. This kid deserves every bit of help that we can send his way. Okay. I want to thank KF Logan 1875 for the raiding party of 47 on Twitch. Much appreciated. Welcome in, Raiders. We're just talking about, shootings in America.
USA, USA, USA.
Yep. And we're going to continue with that because we've got another story. A lot like this one, but worse. Oh boy. A New York man has been charged with murder after opening fire on a group of people for entering his driveway. Washington County Sheriff Jeffrey Murphy recently announced on Monday that 65-year-old Kevin Monahan is being charged with second-degree murder for shooting and killing 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis on Saturday evening. Gillis was driving with friends in Hebron, New York, a little over 200 miles north of New York City. Of course, they got lost and had to turn around. That's when Monahan came out on his porch and fired at the car. 2 shots. One of them hit Gillis, according to police. The group then managed to get away, drove 6 miles to a nearby town in order to get help. They were not able to, call emergency services until they got to the nearby town because cell phone service was pretty terrible in that area. So it's a very rural area. Unfortunately, that was too late. EMS was unsuccessful in doing CPR to resuscitate the young woman, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. So this, again, happened not long after Ralph Yarl faced a similar situation and was shot for going to the wrong house. So we apparently live in a country where you can't come up to someone's door, knock on a door, or even turn around in someone's driveway without being shot at. No, hey, what you doing here? It's just shoot first, ask questions later. I mean, look, I've missed a turn, and I've had to turn around in people's driveways before. I've had cars break down in front of people's houses, and I've had to go and get help. I've had to ask them for help. Can't do nowadays. You have to worry about, what if I have what if my car breaks down in front of somebody's house? Are they going to come shoot me for having a flat tire? For just parking out in front of their house? What is wrong with people? So this guy, I don't know anything about him. I can't say as far as dealing with mental illness or anything like that. But I do know that apparently he was not cooperative when it came to police. Interesting. According to the Times-Union, when police were called to his house over these gunshots, he refused to come out. According to the Times-Union, Monahan was uncooperative with the investigation and refused to exit his residence to speak with police. He was later taken into custody, alive, by the way, with the assistance of the New York State Police Special Operation Response Team after several hours. So, look, they managed to, take him in alive. So, this is the state of this country, where we have another senseless shooting, senseless killing, no reason at all. Again, people who just shoot first. I don't know. I don't understand. The entire idea of doing this. I mean, it baffles me. I can't understand how you can see somebody who's coming up your driveway and you decide, I'm going to shoot him. I don't understand. I don't know. It's horrifying. Now, the thing is, here in New York, they don't have stand your ground laws. So, in fact, look, state law explicitly imposes a duty to retreat before resorting to deadly force outside the home. He did not do that. He immediately went to deadly force. As a result, it's pretty likely that he'll be going away for a long time because he's clearly a danger to other human beings. But that does not take away from the fact that this young woman, 20 years old, she did nothing wrong. She's just out with her friends, just turning around, in a car, and was murdered. No reason at all. It's an absolute tragedy what's happening. Again, I don't know if a red flag law would have helped with this or what even led to this kind of insane reaction. I don't know. But I do know that it's just an absolute, it's a tragedy. And it deserves attention as well. So, look, if you want to help out with Gillis's funeral expenses, I'll be dropping the link to her GoFundMe campaign in that description as well. Hopefully, it'll help to at least relieve the financial burden on the family so that they are able to take the time to grieve. Because, at the very least, they deserve to be able to not have to worry about those final expenses. Jeez. All right. Let's go to... Let's see. Let's go to a child labor bill. Great. Republicans in Iowa just passed a child labor bill, and they did it in the dead of night. But let me give you the details on this. According to WHO 13, the Iowa legislative session opened at 3:36 a.m. And the vote on SF 542, that is the pro-child labor bill, happened at 4:52 a.m. So they're getting up bright and early to make sure to send the kids back to the mines. So this happened, again, at 4:52, passed by a margin of 32-17. Mainly party line vote. All Democrats voted against it, joined by 2 Republicans. Now, the bill itself would allow 14-year-olds to work 6-hour night shifts, allows 15-year-olds to work in plants and assembly lines, moving items up to 50 pounds, and allows 16 and 17-year-olds to serve alcohol. Well, and there you go. This is what happens when labor power threatens corporate interests. They try to make the kids go back to work because kids can't join a union. They can't join a union. They can't bargain for better wages. They can legally get paid substandard wages, so below the minimum wage. So companies looked at this and they're like, yes, we have the solution to the problem of nobody wants to work for our crappy wages. We're just going to hire the children. Okay. So now, funny enough, as I mentioned before, a lot of these places are the ones who claim to have problems with hiring people. And again, that's because they don't pay enough or the working conditions are bad and in some cases dangerous. Like, for example, meatpacking plants, which I've done stories before of children working in meatpacking plants. They figured, though, that, hey, look, well, if we can legally pay substandard wages and we can get away with it, because right now there's a lot of companies that are in violation of child labor laws. So they figured out, let's just change the child labor laws. Let's just make it legal to hire children. But it's even more insidious than that, because it's a nationwide effort to weaken labor standards all over the country. According to the Economic Policy Institute, industry lobbyists backing state child labor changes appear to view state-by-state erosion of protections as a way to build pressure for an eventual relaxation or elimination of federal wage and hour standards for the entire country. Legalizing forms of child labor, long considered to be hazardous or exploitative, and expanding the pool of low-wage labor available to employers in industries ranging from restaurants and retail to construction, logistics, and manufacturing. All the places that have been criticized for being dangerous and not paying enough. So that's the plan. Oh, hey, let's just, instead of paying more, because we can afford it, you have corporations that are sitting on $2 trillion worth of cash that have been sending overseas and don't pay enough in taxes, while we get just raked over the coals when it comes to taxes. They get all that money to be able to actually, pay living wages, higher wages, and, fix up their equipments. But what do they do instead? Stock buybacks. And now lobby to loosen child labor laws so they can hire children. So one of the Democrats who voted against this is Senator Janice Weiner, who said this: "I wouldn't want my granddaughter serving alcohol or getting an exception to do hazardous work in the name of workplace learning." Oh, you sweet summer child. You think it's in the name of workplace learning? No. But then adds, "A workplace accident can happen in the blink of an eye. It takes mere seconds for a red iron beam to fall. Iowans should not be putting our kids, and they are kids, in dangerous situations." Now, Republicans, they have a hilarious excuse. I mean, it's almost comical what they're saying, okay? They said, with this bill, we are strengthening and providing protections to our youth. No, that's literally the opposite of what you're doing. What? No. Then this is Senator Adrian Dickey. They said, "We're not forcing them into slave labor. We are not selling our children. We're not even requiring them to work." Wait, hold on. Okay. That statement makes me think, what are you talking about? We're not forcing them into slave labor. I mean, at least they're not slave. You know what I'm saying? We're not selling them either. Come on, guys. We're never requiring them to work. Yet. Come on. So here's the thing. Child labor, look, we know that this is harmful to children. Decades of research that documented that excessive work hours can jeopardize teens' health and development, and that youth are developmentally and biologically more vulnerable to workplace injury and long-term harms from chemical exposures and other workplace hazards than older adults. Which again, by the way, those hazards also exist for the older adults and shouldn't be there. There should be more protections for adults in labor. And again, I don't think children should be doing this kind of labor. I'm not saying that a kid can't get a summer job for a little bit of extra video game money. Oh yeah, that's totally fine. This ain't it. This has the ultimate goal of weakening federal labor standards and drives down wages for all, increases unemployment among other groups. And also there is the potential that kids will not finish school, not get the so-called alleged woke indoctrination or whatever, because they're working, because their families are like, oh, well, why don't you just go to work? Why are you going to be in school? You got a job. You're good enough. Can't get them learnings. No. Those schools, I mean, they're just indoctrinating you with woke LGBTQ gender ideology.
Can't let that happen.
No. Again, nobody's saying that kids can't have a couple of hours for an after-school job, or a summer job, or a few hours on the weekend. This is not that. This is excessive, and it's putting them in, again, dangerous situations that are not going to help them, that are not going to benefit them in their futures. There's only one type of person that benefits from this, and that's a shareholder. And that's what's going on here. Research found that excessive youth work hours jeopardize kids' economic futures, especially when they end up as young adults that drop out of school to work, because they end up having the lowest earnings and highest unemployment rates of all workers. And so, again, and as I mentioned before, if wages go lower for adults as a result of a flood of child labor, well, I mean, what's that going to do to the labor market? Again, you're forcing wages down further. It's going to have a huge negative impact when it comes to, the average working class person. It's straight out of a Dickens novel. Now, there's one last piece of information I want to share with you, and that is the fact that, again, we have had violations of child labor laws and proposals to roll back those labor protections that have been on the rise. The number of minors, for example, employed in violation of child labor laws had increased by 37% in the last year alone. Well, as a result, at least 10 states have introduced or passed laws that rolled back those child labor protections. So I guess, what are you talking about? Child labor violations? No, we're just not going to make it illegal anymore. And the child labor violations magically go away. So, look, if anyone was curious which direction corporations were going to go after the Great Resignation and the resurgence of labor power in this country, or at least the beginnings of, I mean, we'd hope that maybe we're going to raise wages, and we're going to start, allowing more people to collectively bargain. No. Instead, they're going to put the kids back in the mines, all to save a few bucks. This is who they are. Okay. So I know the breaking news, the settlement with Fox News and Dominion for $787.5 million. So I'll have more details on that tomorrow. So I'm going to talk about that again in detail at length. But wow, that was quick. Wow, I was expecting something a little bit, I don't know, a little longer, honestly. I'm a bit disappointed that they folded so quickly. But then again, it is Fox News, so they're used to settling. Yeah, I expected a longer, trial. I was expecting some more fun details to come out, even though their case was quite solid. The stuff that I had shared, I wonder again what the details here were on that, and why they didn't go. Why didn't you go for the $1.6 billion? That's a strong case. So again, I'm going to read into the details here a little bit more and see what kind of information I can glean on it. And then I will talk about that tomorrow. So wait for it. All right. So, look, everybody, thank you for going around the nation with me today. Really, really appreciate it. Let's go to super chats here before we raid in with Twitch. Dwight Boone, thank you for being a member and also for wishing Gabby Mathis a happy birthday. And yes, happy birthday to you, Gabby. You're an invaluable member of the audience, and so the happiest of birthdays to you. Thank you, by the way, for that super chat. Very, very generous, by the way. Jonathan Leiter, again, happy birthday wishes to Gabby. Tyler Hagner, also birthday wishes to Gabby. Always been a supporter, always nice to me for some reason. Hey, no, Tyler, you're a good guy. You're good. Y'all good. Y'all are amazing. The best audience that I could ask for. Toya Alta Abstract says, let's not forget Dennis Hastert and Matt No Lips Gates. Yeah, what the thing that sucks about the Gates thing is that the DOJ dropped the case. What? So I was trying to deal with more of the cases that had actually been led to convictions and jail time. But yeah, Gabby also there's another birthday here, Madi Darno. So thank you, Mod Love, and happy birthday, Madi, as well. So awesome. Everybody, yeah, there's just so much love in the chat here for everybody. So happy birthday, Madi, and that's Gabby. And then Madi giving a happy birthday to Gabby. So that's awesome. I love the love. I appreciate it. And I appreciate being able to, have you all as viewers and members and incredibly generous people, not just to me, but to each other as well. And so I love that. It warms the heart, especially after this terrible news day. Although, I guess the Fox News stuff, it's pretty much an admission. Okay. All right. So with that, let's head over to our Twitch community. Again, thank you, KF Logan1875, for the raiding party. Appreciate that. And let's see. Why don't we raid in to a... Let's see. I think we'll do a Frenafio raid today. Haven't raided her in a while, so we'll do that. Everybody, thank you. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Love you all, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Don't do it. I tell you, don't do it. Sexual anarchy. Get in a long tube with a bunch of bees.
It's not a salami sandwich. Peachtree dish.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
USA, USA, USA.